Hi, my name is Melissa Hesselmeyer, and I am a librarian at Lone Star College, Montgomery. In this video, I will be covering starting the research process, resources for your research, developing a search strategy, basic database searching, and how to get help. I'll then demonstrate a few of the databases I recommend starting with for your research assignment. One of the hardest parts with a research assignment is how to start. You've been provided a list of possible research topics on alternative, complementary, or integrative healing topics by Dr. Heckelman. After choosing a potential topic, the first thing you will want to do is start gathering some background information on that topic. Using a search engine to gather general information on a topic and build your knowledge base is okay and can be encouraged, but Google is not appropriate for finding credible, authoritative information for research purposes. Although search engines like Google are okay to use when you start building your knowledge on a topic, you do not want to use them to find credible resources. Search engines often yield tons of results that are not well organized. The first page of results often includes ads, YouTube videos, news articles, etc. The internet is also filled with misinformation, as it is very easy to create a website and write whatever you want. You can avoid having to sift through all of that to find quality scholarly resources by using Lone Star College's research databases. I often have students ask me, what exactly is a scholarly publication? Scholarly publications are written works that have been through a rigorous process of peer review. Experts in the subject matter review the work for quality and determine if it is deserving or undeserving of publishing. When experts review the work, they are looking at authority, relevance, currency, and sound methodology of the work. Now that we have discussed how to start the research process and what scholarly publications are, let's take a look at the types of resources you should utilize for your research. Resources come in different types and different formats. Resources can consist of books, articles, and websites. Ebooks and books can be considered scholarly or non-scholarly. One of the ways to tell if a book is scholarly is by looking into who published the book. A lot of university press publishers, such as Oxford University Press, are scholarly because they have gone through a rigorous publishing process and have been extensively reviewed. Articles can also be scholarly or non-scholarly. Non-scholarly articles are more meant to inform or entertain the public. Think of magazines and newspaper articles. Their language will be informal, and you will often find advertisements in the middle of the pages. Scholarly articles are meant for professors, students, and researchers within the field. Their purpose is to present research findings. Scholarly articles are what your professors will mainly want you to use as your sources in college. Now that we've identified the types of resources we should be focusing on, you will need to come up with a strategy for searching in the databases. Let's say that I have decided to focus on laughter and healing for my research paper. My initial research question is, how can laughter play a role in the healing process? From my research question, I will take a 3-step approach to developing my search strategy. The first step is to identify keywords associated with my topic that I can then use to search the databases. When identifying keywords, I want to focus on the main concepts in my research question. The main concepts for my question are laughter and healing. The second step is taking the main concepts that I identified in step 1 and then identify synonyms or other keywords that could be used to describe the same concept. I can use different resources to help me create this list, like reference databases, ebooks, journal articles, and my own personal knowledge. For laughter, I've identified humor, comedy, and happiness as additional keywords I could use. For healing, I've identified medicine, disease, and recovery. The last step in developing a search strategy is to take the keywords I've identified, select the best terms, and then connect them with Boolean operators. Boolean operators are and, or, and not. You've probably used these operators before without even realizing it. These operators work in Google, and you may have used them in your daily life. For example, I'm pretty sure I've searched movies in Cinemark before. Let's start with and. When we use and between two keywords, it tells the database to bring back results that include all search terms in the record. This will narrow your search results. Or is most often used between synonyms. For example, I may be focusing my research on laughter and healing among teenagers, but researchers will most likely not use that term when writing their research. I would want to consider other words that describe teenagers, such as adolescents or young adults, and use or between the terms to make sure that I'm getting all of the research that is covering that particular group. Or will expand our search results. Not is the last of the Boolean operators, and it is used to exclude keywords from our search results. We can use this if we have enough research on that particular topic, or we want to focus our research more. In this example, we want articles on laughter and healing, but not in regards to depression. Not will narrow our search results. Based on the keywords we've identified in the Boolean operators, here is what a search could look like in the database. Now let's get some practice in the research databases. I'm going to show you a few of our health and medicine databases: Health Source Nursing Academic Edition, Alt Health Watch, and Academic Search Complete. You are not limited to using only these databases, and depending on your topic, you may actually need to look at databases outside of health and medicine. We'll talk more about that a little later on. To get to our research databases from lonestar.edu, I will click on Libraries in the top bar. This will take you to the home page for the LSCS libraries. In the Start Your Research section of the home page, the databases can be accessed from the Find Articles tab. Our databases are grouped by subject, meaning that under each subject, we have listed databases that search for resources in that subject or discipline. Because this English class is focused on writing and nursing, I will check out the databases in health and medicine. First, you will notice that we have categorized our databases even further by type. Note that if you need to gather some background information on your topic and identify possible keywords, you may want to start in the eBooks reference section. I am looking for research articles right now, so I will click the arrow next to Articles and select Health Source Nursing Academic Edition from the list. There are two ways to get access to the databases from home. You can either use your library barcode number, which is located on the back of your student ID card, or you can use your My Lone Star credentials to gain access. Let's start our search with the keywords from my sample research question earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and enter laughter and healing into the search bar. So you'll notice from this search that we have 23 search results. From our results page, we have additional ways to limit our search results. And you'll notice those options on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see that we have a box for full text and we have a box for scholarly peer reviewed. As a researcher, I always check both of these boxes to make sure that I am getting access to articles that we have full text access to, and that means that you can read it immediately. I also like to click scholarly peer reviewed. And for your assignment, you'll be looking for 5 scholarly resources, at least 5 scholarly resources. So I would recommend that you use that scholarly peer-reviewed limiter so that will further narrow your results and show you those articles that are peer-reviewed and that we have for full text. So you'll see that when I added those limiters, that took my results from 23 down to 8. And another thing that I want you to notice is that you'll see a listing over here for publication date. Right now we're looking at articles that are from 1980 to 2008. And so depending on the topic that you're researching, you may want to manipulate the publication date. So a lot of times when we are doing research in health and medicine, we need to be looking for the most current information out there. So then typically that would be anything within the past 5 years. So obviously with this search, we are getting some older information. That doesn't mean that you cannot use some of these resources depending on your topic. I just wanted to point out that you may want to consider that as you're doing research with that topic. So I also wanted to go ahead and do that search that we created using those Boolean operators, and we had a pretty big search string that we ended up with. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Advanced Search in this database. I'm going to go ahead and clear so that I clear out my previous search, and I'm going to enter the search string that we created after we learned about the Boolean operators. So I'm going to do laughter or humor or comedy. And then you'll see that and is already selected. So I'm going to do and healing or medicine or disease. And I'll go ahead and click search. So this search gave me 1,566 results right off the bat. And that happens because we used the or between those different keywords. And as you remember, or will actually expand our search results because it is telling the database to bring back resources using laughter or humor or comedy and healing or medicine or disease. So it's bringing back resources that have at least one of those terms in the record. So I'm going to go through the same process that I did with the previous search, and I'm going to click my limiter for full text. And then go ahead and add the limiter for scholarly peer-reviewed. So that took us from 1,500 down to 764 resources. You'll notice that for publication date, we've got from 1963 to 2020. I'm going to go ahead and leave that for right now, but as I mentioned earlier, if you need to manipulate that, you can do that in these boxes. So let's go ahead and look at one of the records. I'm going to click on the active ingredients in humor, psychophysiological benefits and risks for older adults. So as we click on the record, there's some really useful information just from this page. We get the abstract. So this is basically a brief summary of what the article is talking about, and that can be very helpful in determining if this article is appropriate for your assignment and for your research. Another thing that you'll notice is that on the left-hand side, you can download the PDF of this article. You can also download the HTML full text. So this is how you'll access the full text for the article. Another thing to note is that there are some additional subject headings here. So let's say we really liked this article and we want to find some more like that. You can look at those subjects and use those as keywords in the databases. So maybe we want to focus on older people or older adults, then you can use that keyword in another search to get more articles on that topic. And then on the right side, you'll notice some tools associated with this database. So what you can do is you can actually add this article to your Google Drive. You can create folders within the database. You can print, email, save. So there's several different ways to work with this article and save this article. If you like to just use links, you'll want to click on this permalink here, and that will give you a permanent link to this article. If you try to copy the URL up in the URL bar, that will actually later won't take you right back to this article. So anytime you're copying a link, make sure you're looking for the permalink. And the last thing I want to mention about this database and a lot of our databases is that there is a citation tool built in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Cite, and that will bring up a box where we can look at several different citation styles. And for this class, we'll be using APA. So you'll see right here that we have the APA citation for this article. So you can copy and paste that onto your reference page. Anytime that you do that, you need to be double checking that with a reputable citation guide. So you can either go straight to the APA's website. You can use one of LSC-Montgomery's citation help pages. I'll be sending Professor Heckelman a PDF of a APA handout that you guys can also use. So you make sure you're double checking your citation against a reputable resource. Let's go to another database. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. And so after reviewing the list of topics for the research assignment, I was interested in learning more about acupuncture healing therapy. So I did some background research and read that it was being used for cancer-related fatigue, and I thought that sounded pretty interesting. So I decided I wanted to learn more about that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose another database to look in. I'm going to look in this Alt Health Watch because this one covers peer-reviewed journals, reports, and additional resources for alternative medicine. So I figured this would be a good database to use for that topic. And so again, you'll see that I need to authenticate to get into the database. And so this is a very similar database to the last one. So similar features, or pretty much the same features. And and same method for us to search. So I'm going to go ahead and put acupuncture and cancer-related fatigue in the search bar. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go through my limiters here on the left. And I am interested in the second article here. Acupuncture mitigates side effects of conventional breast cancer treatments. So again, as I come to this record, I get a very brief abstract on the article. I can access my PDF full text over here. On the right side, I can use all of those different resources for this article. One thing that's nice to point out about this one that we didn't really see on the last one is that it actually gives me quite a few additional subject keywords that I can use. So again, it's another way for you to gather additional keywords for your research. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. And then I was looking at the list of topics, and I thought that the visual arts and healing sounded pretty interesting. So now in this case, I'm actually going to go into Academic Search Complete, which is a comprehensive cross-curricular database. And you'll see Academic Search Complete on pretty much every database grouping that we have because it is so comprehensive. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and search for visual arts and healing. And then, like I said, go through my same limiters, my normal process. So scholarly peer-reviewed is actually a little bit lower on this limiter box here. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select this using creative arts and trauma therapy. So as you'll see, this article is actually in a journal for mental health counseling. So some of these topics that Professor Heckelman provided you may not necessarily fall under the health and medicine umbrella. So you may need to use databases in other subjects. So for example, with visual arts and healing, I may also want to go into some of the art databases to see what has been written in those journals about this particular topic. So just consider that, based on whatever topic you are using, you may need to go outside of the health and medicine realm for resources. So this was just an example of a few different databases that I recommend. You will often need to search multiple databases to find the information you need. If you're having trouble selecting databases for your topic, navigating within that database, or more generally finding resources, the librarians are here to help.